All right, mic check 1 2 1 2. I got the handheld on me.
Oh,
Yeah, it's more just because of how my setup is, but
okay.
uh, I'm trying to. I told the people on my show last night, Sunday Night Special. I'm trying to be more professional now, so I got a light and I got a backlight. I got a new mic, even though my old mic was straight,
Hmm.
but I got like this hookup thing because I had to have multiple connections in, and
Yeah.
I can't plug them all into my computer at once. So I gotta, it's I'm giving a little bit of backstage here at the top of the show. I don't know, it don't really matter for you folks out there, but give you a little bit about how the sausage is made. But this is a brand new show that we are getting off here with War. As you can see, I'm me, Kyle Means, and that's my man Drew Stevens right next to me. Man, he's been gracious enough to decide to ride with me on this one, and this is Monday Night Means. Here we look to do a little dispatch here every week, every Monday, of course. Not we don't take up too much of your time. Maybe about a half hour, 45 minutes or so, maybe approaching an hour, depending on our guests. This week, we're going to be actually bringing in should be bringing in Ryan Bukovetsky, our guy who helps with the Bears coverage, helps write the Fourth and Goal preview package for us every week, and of course, he also produces the That Davis show with Ken Davis, our guy. Which we also run on War Programming. So we should be doing that a little later, wrapping up our football talk. But what this show is going to be week to week is sort of a transference of our Chicago Sports Exchange, for one, that we've been doing on first on weareeagleradio.com and later on, Drew's done this so beautifully on our Substack page, War Ready, some things have changed a little bit. Like I said, we're adjusting some of our coverage and everything, and Drew's gonna chill with the CSEs in written form, but to sort of focus on some other areas of coverage, and I'm not gonna necessarily write them because I'm sort of getting into Bears writing again and stuff that I'm doing. I'm been fortunate enough to get some access to the Bears this year, game day access as well at Soldier Field. So I'm trying to make the most of that. This is going to be a part of that as well. Ending my reviewing of the Bears each week, and we're gonna get Drew's opinion on that stuff as well. And but with the CSC that we do, if you read the CSC, from back when I was doing it last year, we typically use that post in the written form to judge each team in Chicago, the major sports teams, and we did that with a buy. I did that like an exchange, like a stock exchange. You're buying or selling or holding your beliefs as you would money in an investment. You do that with the teams, and we just gonna do that as part of this show with the teams. Get back to that sort of a simple discussion if you buying or selling each team, from week to week, what they're doing based on, what they got going on. And, beyond that, we just going to have open discussions and stuff to keep up with Drew, what Drew got going on, what I got going on. And, Drew becoming more popular out there, so I want people to get more Drew, and we gonna give y'all more Drew. So
Just a little bit more popular.
a little bit.
A little bit more engagement, man. I just, it's fun, man. I'm a fan, at heart. I know we like to say observer sometimes, but just growing up in Chicago, these teams become a part of your life, for better or for worse. And I'm just somebody that's following them, has followed them, and just enjoys to write about them. So that's what it is, man.
And you good. Well, you good at it, man. And I think you should have a bigger following, and I think you will eventually, as much as you want. So there's good and bad things to having big followings. So some people have big followings and don't even want to talk to people no more because of all the stupid stuff they get from people online and stuff. So I don't think either one of us have reached that level yet. I know if I get to that level, I'm gonna handle it a certain way. But I think you'd be nicer about it than me. But Drew is Drew. I think you're a real good guy, man, and I think you deserve basically you deserve all that, like I said, that you want in this game, and I'm gonna help you as much as I can. So I'm glad. Like I said, I'm glad you're riding with me, and yeah, we just like I said, this show is just gonna be us kicking it for a little, like I said, for a little bit each week, and we get back to what we do on the other side with other things. Of course, we got Running with War. We do with our guys, Josh and Chris and other friends. We talk basketball stuff on there. Follow us. Follow War Media, and you can get that stuff every week. Stuff like that every week as well. Second City Sports, we run on, still running on our podcast. You can watch them live on Sports Zone Chicago. Shout out to Keenan McGee. Shout out to Sid Brown, and of course, Dean. The show, the offspring of the Dean Davis show. Ken Davis still doing it, and like I said, Ryan Bukoveski, who should be with us a little later. Keep following them as well. That's the fam, and that's what we do here at War, and we keep on doing it. If you want to get involved with us too, if you got, I'm always open to putting on new people, new shows, and expanding our platform, our new voices. I'm always interested in new voices. It could be, if you got a whole show, hey, let me run it. If you got an idea, pitch it. If you just want to, get on the chat and talk shit, we love that too. We love interaction, So, I'm gonna check the chat every now and then, but like I said, if you got any thoughts, any feedback on what you saw happen this in the past weekend from when we do these shows, let us know. It's gonna be a lot of stuff going on in the next few weeks. Even in the next few weeks, we got a lot that's gonna be going on with the Bears, and the Sox are gonna be in the playoffs, and the Bulls are gonna be getting back to action soon, the Hawks and stuff. So Sky are about to enter the playoffs too. Hopefully they could last for a little bit, but we're gonna get into all that in a quick second, actually. But let's just start off with the Bears. 20-17 win yesterday. They were up for a time, 20-3 in the fourth quarter. They had a great stretch where their defense forced 3 straight turnovers on Cincinnati, and Joe Burrow, their hot young quarterback over there. They was looking pretty dominant for a second, like they're going to run away with it, but still some kinks to work out. Justin Fields had an interception there towards the end. He had his good spots and his bad spots, mixed thing there, but there's a good chance though that he may get to start again next week. Although the reporting has come out today that it hasn't been any major structural damage to Andy Dalton's knee. Dalton had an injury to his knee. That was all that they announced yesterday, and that kept him out from about early mid-second quarter through the rest of the game. We got to see Justin Fields command the game for the majority for the first time, a regular season game. And like I said, his good parts and his bad parts, he was able to lead to the win. But, there's still some work to be done. So That's the first thing I'll just throw at you, Drew. Like, what is your thoughts on the Bears, and what did you think about yesterday's game?
So I think just based off yesterday, man, I'm holding on the Bears. I don't think anybody can come away from that game and feel like they got their, or feel comfortable buying. But at the same point, I don't think you would sell either. So I'm holding where I am right now on them. Defense played spectacular for the most part. Still gave up a big play to Chase late in the game. Gave up another touchdown off of Fields' turnover. So, like you said, there are some things to clean up. I'm kind of stuck on the quarterback situation because I feel like Dalton, that first series, he looked really good. The offense looked really good. Kind of in that same way, that first drive against the Rams until the interception in that first game, it looked pretty good. Still had the assist of a defensive penalty mixed in there that kind of boosted the drives as well. But depending on how Nagy is going to scheme and call the game, on one hand, Dalton looks like the best man for the job. But if Fields is going to get time with the ones, if Nagy's actually going to scheme the game to Fields' strengths and the rest of his team's strengths, then of course, I still want to see what Fields can do under those circumstances. So I'm holding. I'm kind of in a wait and see mode to see where this goes. They got a tough stretch of games before their bye week, not including the game against Detroit the week after next. But
that might be half a bye. Yeah,
I know, right? I know, but even still, there's no games you on the schedule where you feel like totally confident that the Bears can come away with a W. Even against the Bengals, we were like, man, coming off that game against the Rams, we weren't sure how to take it. Was it that the Rams were just that much better? But the first game, working out the kinks type of thing. So
they came out, beat Minnesota, and the team that it seemingly could score more than the Bears. Just about anybody could score more than the Bears, but the Bengals kind of kicked themselves in their own behinds a couple times in the game. Of course, the turnovers late in the fourth, but even before then, you had like the T. Higgins fumble in the third that really set up the Bears scoring early in the fourth. Higgins fumbled in their own territory, and that. It ended a drive where they could have went and scored. It was 7-3 at the time. Bengals could have took the lead with that drive if they wanted to. They had a big drive coming out of the halftime. They had the ball first in the third quarter, and they utilized a stupid penalty. There, I believe it was I believe that was the Quinn penalty for the hit out of bounds, and. That was a drive that shouldn't have even got past midfield. They utilized that to get their first, to get their 3 points at the time, and that kept them in the game. And like I said, with the Higgins drive, if they had made anything out of that could have got them the lead going into the fourth quarter instead of still being down. And the Bears extended their lead and kept extending it, working off those turnovers. But that still almost wasn't enough. The 20-3 lead almost wasn't enough there with like 5-6 minutes of the game. It was pretty wild to look at. But like I said, growing pains is stuff that the Bears gonna have to deal with a young quarterback in charge. But half in charge or empowered in some way. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm with you. Like as far as the buying or selling, I'm kind of with you in the whole pattern, Drew. I'm not going to sell them after a win, and I'm not going to buy them either because it wasn't the most convincing win. And there's still, like I said, a lot of questions to be asked about Fields' play, his play in regards to him gelling with the first team, which he hadn't got a lot of experience with in the preseason because, again, Nagy had his plans of, Dalton being with the first string. He was going to be the starter and all that. And, it's just led to a point where Fields is a gadget that he's using in the offense, but he may have to be the main weapon, as soon as this week against a pretty good Browns team, and a Browns team that likes to, rush the quarterback. They got some dangerous guys, Myles Garrett, and led by Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney. So they got some pass rushers, and it's going to be hectic for whoever the Bears got in that quarterback position, coming up this Sunday. So, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the Bears, his teammates didn't make it easy on him either, man. With the drops, Robinson dropping the end zone. Mooney dropped a couple passes. One of them, you could say they might have been a little late. That one in the end zone, it kind of went off his fingertips. Graham missing the block down there.
Yeah, I was about to say that came out. Yeah, that was tweeted out today. That wasn't something that I caught right away, when I yesterday, but it was a nice shot of it from Fields' view, running from his left to his left side towards the end zone. He definitely got the speed and the agility to get to that corner, that little corner of the end zone where he could have got his feet in and got the touchdown. But like you say, Graham just completely barely even tried to make the block. Let the receiver go right by him, and not the receiver, the cornerback go right by him, and the cornerback winds up wrapping up Fields before he can, get around the corner. And that would have been another score that the Bears could have had more points. I think I didn't do the math exactly, but I would say they left at least 6 points on the board, and they could have won that much easier, probably around a 27-7, even with the mistakes they had, like maybe a 27-17 win. But they made it interesting. That's what the Bears like to do. Even when we don't ask them, they make it interesting.
Yeah, you're right about that, man. It's the Bears make it hard to stay in the middle with them. Either you are hating what they're doing or you fall in love prematurely. I feel like that's what it's kind of been. That kind of describes my experience with the Bears, man.
It's kind of hard to maintain, like you maintain your aspirations, your expectations of them. It's hard to keep them in a reasonable place. It's like you say, you're either too much in love with them or you don't expect a damn thing from them. And usually when you don't expect a damn thing from them, that's when they like to pop up. You're like, oh, we actually can do something.
Yeah.
And then you want to get your hopes up a little, then. But you gotta, like I said, you gotta measure yourself a little more with the Bears, and we'll see. A lot of it comes down to coaching, and I think they're planning as a franchise from year to year. Usually they like to wing things with certain positions, and I think they've done that this year with the offensive line. They've done that with the defensive backfield, and those are two important positions of the football field, of two important areas of the depth chart where they've lacked depth, and they've lacked a certain kind of standout talent throughout each position. And that could come back to bite them in certain ways. Like, actually, the defensive backfield, the secondary was they actually rose to the challenge, I think, on Sunday, and as well as the offensive line in a lot of ways. But from week to week, can we expect that sort of play? I don't know. I think there are going to be some matchups where they're going to be overmatched and overwhelmed, and you got to watch that.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Totally agree. That's why I was, kind of in a holding pattern with this team. See where it goes.
I'm with you, Drew. I'm with you. we got to wait and see if they come out next week. I think against the Browns on the road and do something, stellar, and whoever has most of the snaps, if they make their quarterback look good, which make their quarterbacks look good. If I think I'm pretty resigned to imagining that both of the guys are going to get snaps for the time being. Maybe at some point Fields may get more snaps than Dalton, but I think even when Fields gets more snaps, there's going to be a time where Dalton maybe has to come in on some, on some specific packages for him, where Nagy feels more comfortable having him out on the field. But it's Nagy can really get, like I said, when you try to break down Nagy's thinking specifically, that's where you get in trouble too as a Bears fan. It's like
you get in trouble real fast. That dude was talking so many circles, man. I was reading something from Bragg Biggs, the Tribune, man. Nagy just talks in so many circles, man. I don't know how he keeps up with it himself. It's angering, it's frustrating, it's comical, it's all those things wrapped into one. It's like he doesn't really give a straight answer. And I know some of that is coach speak. You can't give away certain things, or you may feel like if you answer it honestly that you're giving up certain things. But oh man, it's just a track meet anytime this dude opens his mouth, man.
Definitely, yeah. But yeah, let's chill out with the Bears. Like I said, we got other coverage. If you want to watch back on the Sunday night special, that's up on our YouTube page now as well. You may be able to watch if you're watching us on Twitter under War Media. You may be able to play it on our page there as well. But YouTube, I think, would probably be a better place even to replay it. And if you just got to listen to it, if you can only listen to it, maybe on the job or something. You could play it now on our Anchor, anchor.fm /War Media. But let's move on to the other teams in town right quick. The ones in action, starting with the Sox. They are playing right now in Detroit. They got out to a 3-0 lead early, but now they given up two of those runs back already. And they're in the bottom of the third with a 3-2 lead and 2 runners on base. So it may be an interesting night for the Sox in Detroit. But, beyond that, things overall looking well for the Sox. I mean, they're a first-place team. They've been in first place all season. They're gearing up for the playoffs. And they don't have too difficult a schedule in there. When you look at their schedule right now, they're playing – the Tigers. I think they have the Reds coming into town before the end of the season. They're not playing like high pressure games right now, and they just giving up a third run, so it's a tie game now in Detroit. But they just got out of playing the Texas Rangers, and they had some little things there. As they won the series, but it was a little bit of a challenge there. They're only 5-5 in their last 10. But there's still a bunch of games above 500. Let me get the record up.
85 and 64.
Okay, thank you, Drew. Yeah, so they're a team that's gonna win. Maybe around 95 games this season. They're running away with the AL Central. The challenge, I guess, right now would be I saw you make some mention of this on Twitter, Drew. Getting into the second seeding in the AL as opposed to the third seeding where they could be playing at a disadvantage in the early in the first round. After the wild card games, Houston is ahead of them in their second spot. How much are the Sox out by for the second spot?
I believe 3 games. I think they're 3 behind Houston.
Okay, yeah. So there may be if we know that's probably the closest we're gonna get to division watching or a pennant chase for the regular season. So the Sox may let's just stay before we get into our ruling. Do you think it's important personally that they get into that second spot, Drew?
I think it is just because they've been so much better at the sale. I'm sorry, guarantee rate. Ooh. So much better.
You get one back like I'll always call it the sale.
So much
you
better.
didn't even say Kaminsky, like, you know.
So much better at guarantee rate than they have been away from home for whatever reason. Again, this team is, I don't know the specific number, but it can't be too high into the double digits in terms of the amount of games that they played actually intact with the guys that they felt they were going to have as everyday position players going into the season. So everything is kind of got to be taken with proper context in mind, given that they have been able to run away with this with the Central the way they have, despite the injuries. I mean, that means something to me. In spite of the trouble that they've had with, other contenders in the American League, and they're not playing their best on the road. The struggles that Keiko has had lately, the questions about what the playoff rotation is going to look like. That being said, I would feel much better about them if they were able to sneak up and get that second seed from Houston. And I think there's a good chance that they could do that. Kyle, you spoke about how, they kind of have an easier or a nice cushy path the rest of the way getting out of the regular season. On the flip side of that, Houston, they got to play Oakland 6 times. They got to play Tampa Bay 3 times. They're playing, who are they playing this week? They're playing the Angels. So the Angels, they're kind of an also-ran team, even though they've won 7 of the last 10 games. But there's room for the Sox to sneak in here and get that second seed and be able to get some games at home right off the bat.
Yeah, definitely. It would hopefully that would be the case. And I'm looking looking at some more stuff online. I think the Sox have a chance to. I think they have a chance to, and they should try to take advantage of their scheduling and really finish strong. I think when you look at certain times in baseball, you have teams that may not have played to their highest caliber throughout the summer, but they can, they get geared up. Usually this happens though with more of like a wild card team that is fighting, day to day to keep themselves in the playoffs. You usually don't have that with a team that is so far ahead of their division that they sort of coast in the October. But I think, given their experience, their burgeoning experience in the playoffs, they had, having experience, I think last postseason, I think should be an advantage for them. And the fact that they lost too could, maybe give them a chip on their shoulder. They, lost the way that they did to Oakland last year. I think they should focus really on trying to play the best baseball that they have played this season at this point going forward, with the roster being as healthy as it is. And, they got they should have their pitching starting to set up the way they have. I'm a little disappointed that that they've only been 5-5 in their last 10. Hopefully, in their next 10, they can be a little bit, have a little bit higher win percentage. And, like I say, just really make more of a statement for themselves against some of these winnable teams that they have, in these last couple weeks. And, it'll be pretty much left to October for them to prove that they are, a championship team. They have the regular season hasn't been the best as far as their winning, their record against other playoff teams hasn't been the best sample size. But it's more important what you do in October than it is in July or May. So as I'm gonna go as far as what buying or selling or holding, I'm gonna go with a buy for the Sox. They haven't they're in the pretty much the same position that they've been in all summer, but they've worked hard to be in this position. I think looking at the next week, we'll see. I think we'll learn more about how geared up they are for October. And if they go on like a losing streak this week or something, I may be more inclined to hold them next week. But right now, I'm still buying the team. I like some of the guys are showing up offensively, and some new guys are showing up. New guys are newer guys. Cesar Hernandez, the guy they got from the Indians at the trade deadline, has looked pretty good to me recently. I've seen a couple other guys are showing up that they bring up Gavin Sheets and people like that who they are relying on to help. Lurie Garcia has been a very much a diamond in a lot of ways in backing up TA Tim Anderson. So the team showing the depth on offense. They're showing some spark on offense. Pitching can be a little shaky at times, but I'm buying the Sox still. No reason for me not to. What about you, Drew?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I'm buying as well. Although if I was putting actual money down, I feel so much more comfortable laying it down if they come up and steal the second seed from the Astros. But
yeah.
if despite the bugaboos, I still feel like there's so much talent on this roster, on the pitching staff, in the bullpen, even though it hasn't, proved fruitful as much as Sox fans would like. I still think, man, it's too much there. There's too much there for me not to buy right now.
Definitely. Yeah, we got Ryan. Ryan B is going to be joining us in a little bit, so we may get closer to an hour mark with this first show. Drew, I think it's been coming in a little hard for you. Maybe you've been a little frozen with us. Maybe we should disconnect you for a second.
Okay.
Let's see. Disconnect you and then bring you back on. But this is Monday Night Memes. You get to see my big head bigger for a little bit here, but I'm gonna bring Drew back in a minute, and we're gonna talk about the Sky and the Cubs right quick before we bring Ryan on to finish up some NFL talk. But hopefully Drew can get back on. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do the Cubs talk. I'm not really, Drew probably ain't up on the Cubs too much anyway. I can't say I've been myself. There's not much to talk about with the Cubs. Let me look at the most recent scores over the weekend. Let me see. They lost a series against the Brewers. To be expected. 2 of 3. They lost to them. Philly, that was coming off of a 17-8 loss to the Philly on Thursday. I think they scored like the first 7 runs in that game. But they still wound up losing 17-8. That's some wild stuff there. I mean, the Cubs, it's hard to buy them or hold them right now. Let's just sell them. they go sell themselves up the river for the off season, and they got a lot of stuff they got to work on. Maybe we'll do a little bit more look into the Cubs next week. It'll probably be one of the last times we talk about them for a while, because the season will be wrapping up. But that's pretty much, like I said, they're in strict rebuilding mode. We know what it's been for them since the All-Star break, and even before then, when they had lost the game leading into the All-Star break, where they knew they was gonna trade all their guys. So, get Drew. Link that over here. He's having an issue there. Hold on, folks. We'll get. So we just working it out here on this first show. Yeah. I don't have too much dead space here, dead air. But I got to do a couple things at once. Hey, we can send this link back to him. And I don't think the link is. I don't think the link is any different. I don't know why it would be hard to go back on. Okay, just hold on with me, folks. I may have to edit this part out of the show. Oh boy. All right, set the text. But yeah, hopefully next week will be a little more. Next Monday will be a little more smooth with things. We'll see. To that degree, I need a producer, y'all. You know, if you think you can run one of these streaming things, Restream, StreamYard, if you think you could help me out with that, I mean, I could produce myself, but it's hard to produce and host at the same time. It's really not a good thing, really not a good thing. If any of you young, upstanding, aggressive chats, or young ladies, I love to work with a young lady who's about her business. And okay, Drew. We got Drew back on. Kind of getting him back on.
My bad. I don't know what happened.
Okay. All right, man. You said you were still here. I was like, I didn't know what you meant right there when you say you were
I'm still here. Meanwhile, the whole thing up there saying join. I'm like, damn, how did I get booted?
Okay. All right, this is good time. And Ryan's coming in now too. But I handled the cup stuff myself. Wasn't much to say there anyway. I said still. I'm guessing you'll agree with that. There's really nothing else you can do with the Cubs right now. Yeah.
Yeah, selling the rest of the season, holding on what comes next, man. Trying to see if it's actually going to be a retool or a rebuild that Hoyer promised. Exactly. That's basically what it is.
Definitely.
They might have found some diamonds in the rough, though, for sure. It was.
Yeah. We give some props to Patrick Wisdom. Set the rookie record for them with home runs, and a couple other young guys look promising, but. Yeah, I'm still kind of salty about what they did at the trade deadline. I mean, getting rid of all those cats just makes no sense to me. But it seemed pretty perfect that Brian ended up in San Fran. He's probably going to end up there for the rest of his career.
I can see that. Although I think there's going to be a lot of teams charging hard for him, man.
That's true, and that was the situation that the Cubs got into. They knew that he was going to play the market because, him being a Scott Boras guy and stuff, he's going to play the market. And, let's get Ryan in for a little bit of this because he is a Cubs guy.
Baseball guy. Don't disrespect it.
I thought you were more of a Cubs guy.
Yeah, but You're just showing my bias in front of everybody. Come on. Everyone's going to be like, this fool, this Cubs fan, that's who you want to talk to, Kyle?
We're all biased, man.
Yeah, but you can keep it on the DL, so that everyone's like, ooh, this baseball guy. That's a baseball analysis right there.
Oh, my bad, man. I didn't want to blow you out like that, man.
You know what it's like being a Cubs fan in these streets.
It's not very popular right now. Yeah, it's not 16 anymore, man. You know, back then you was like a light skinned brother in '88.
Man, 16, starting to feel like 05. White Sox need to get it done this year.
But I think there's a certain amount of, like, for lack of a better word, like pity that's shown toward Cubs fans just because of what's going on with Hoyer and Ricketts. You know what I'm saying? Just the whole set off and the bad taste that left in people's mouths. I think it's more of a pity, man, than it is just a straight looking down on, you know.
Yeah, Drew, and I don't know how you feel, but I do think they're going to come charging back. Like, eventually, whatever this lack of money thing is that they're going through, like, it is going to come. Like, they own way too much. Like, the Forbes list is going to come out. They're going to be, like, right behind the Yankees or third place behind the Dodgers or whatever. Like, they're going to show so much revenue with this network and everything that they've built, and the ballpark's finally done officially. So I think that they're going to go after some free agents and maybe try to be a little more calculated than going after big names. And if you got this farm system somewhat rebuilt, we'll see. But if you can get it going, like, then you got what you wanted in the beginning with Theo. You got the farm system coming up with talent that's homegrown, and then you just stockpile or just piece together some free agents or trades that put you over the top.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what the White Sox did.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And I was gonna say, Ryan, like, coming out of the the trade, the trades and everything, the breaking things down at midseason, I was looking at them like, did they get enough out of these trades to restock the farm system? And what was the farm system looking like?
There was no Eloy in any of those, I don't think.
Yeah, they didn't get anybody like the Sox got them.
Right.
But at the same time, I did the knowledge a little more, and it found they picked up the cat they picked up in the Baez trade is pretty. The main guy, the center field, is pretty highly regarded, and they got a couple.
You were
guys
saying
already,
Brendan Davis, or specifically
the
trade?
Say Brendan Davis is. I guess he's going to be.
Arrow's pointing up hard for him right now.
Yeah,
MVP of the Futures game, just starts raking immediately in AAA. Like, maybe it's early, but maybe.
Yeah, and that'll be exciting. Like, if they can get some exciting young guys in there by next year, they'll look a little bit more like 14 or 15. Not necessarily 16, definitely, but maybe.
And you got Slappy at second base now from the White Sox. I mean, they need that in their lineup. They need a guy that's just not going to strike out. We don't know how good he is. I think he's going to play a lot better on the north side. I think maybe he's kind of like, I could be just way off. This is just totally gut instinct, no real research or anything. But just, he seems like the guy that needs to be like the big fish in a little pond type. And just being around all that talent might have been a little too intimidating for him to bust onto the scene. But maybe that's just way off. But regardless, he's going to have that ability to be a part of this lineup that they really need. And if he can just improve a little bit at second base, I mean, you should be okay there. And then
there's a couple of slappers there, him and Horner. They could make up a pretty good middle of the infield.
And power is easy to find. Everybody's got power that can strike out. You can find that anywhere in free agency. I mean, that's the way the game transitioned basically for a while. So I think they can find that power, but can you find guys that really can get on base, that you really trust? Okay, he is not going to strike out right here.
Yeah. Well, I think they're counting on Horner and Magical being those guys. And like you said, power and pitching, that's where the money needs to go to. I've never really had a big problem with Hoyer ripping the Band-Aid off. It was the way he voiced what he was doing to us that didn't quite sit well with me. Rather, call it what it is. But at the same point, maybe he'll prove himself right if he's able to turn this thing around. I think 1 year is way too short of a runway. Maybe 2 years, if he opens up the pocketbook and be able to kind of build around what they have here and, take advantage of what they found in Frank the Tank and Patrick Wisdom.
And just coming in here, what you were talking about, how big it is with those kids, some diamonds in the rough. Maybe they're not exactly diamonds, but if you can get another year out of some of those guys and just pepper in the right free agencies, acquisitions, then you got 2 years of this farm system kind of growing. Like you said, 1 year might be a little too quick, but what about 2 years? And maybe after next season, with the right free agents, or even just next season, you're contending for some kind of playoff spot, and then the year after that, you're kind of ready to actually contend for something big.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Gotta take some baby steps. But the one thing I'm gonna say, because we got to move on, is if for Cubs fans, I know some Cubs fans. My mother's a Cubs fan. It's like she's not like a diehard, but she's when the Cubs do well, she likes to root for them. That's what basically. But for the diehards though, don't be too patient with this, man. Stay on that team, stay on the Hoyas, stay on the Ricketts, because like I said, with the money they got, the resources they got, y'all shouldn't be losing for more than a year or two at any time going forward. Y'all should be doing the same type of stuff that the Sox do, especially if you want to keep investing in that, that suburban conservative Disney paradise they built up there in Wrigleyville. Like, if you want to have anything to do with that, that's on you. But if you're gonna go up there and spend your money, 10, 20, 30 times a year, you better be getting something out of it. That's all I would say.
And Kyle, just to throw on, the expression, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, they ain't broke, but they got to fix it. That's the only thing with the Cubs right now.
Exactly. But yeah, we might have to speed up things a little bit. I think, Drew, you say you already got a little more to go.
Yeah, probably 10 or 15 more minutes, maybe.
Okay, well, we can wrap up the show in that time. But I just wanted Ryan to come on here because he couldn't come on with me yesterday. So just do a little bit of more football talk before we go. Right quick though, I'm gonna shout out the Sky. We're gonna talk a lot about the Sky though tomorrow on Running with War. We're gonna finally have Chris back to talk about that with us, but we could talk about it ourselves. But they're gonna be in the playoffs. They're playing the win or go home game Thursday against Dallas. I'm buying them. I'm buying their ability to beat Dallas and at least advance that one game in the playoffs. But I don't, they ended the season 16-16. They didn't play as well in the second half post Olympics as I would have liked to have seen them play. They got whooped by the Aces last Friday, and it doesn't look like they're going to be bringing any surprise titles to Chicago this year. But maybe next year they got something they could build on. Drew, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I understand why you would buy them, but I'm holding because they just haven't given me any reason to really put a lot of stock into them. Man, you said they finished 16-16. They finished 6-6 after the Olympic break. Like, it's just as high as they go is as far as they fall. And
I'm being nice.
I get it. And then even next year,
I'm sort of buying them for this week more than anything.
I got you. I can't even go that far right now, man, just because I think they lost 2 or 3 against the Wings. We won't get too much into it for right now, but even looking forward to next year, I think they've got 2 or 3, maybe 4 of their core pieces are, I want to say, unrestricted free agents. I got to go back and look at that. So this thing could look different next year, man.
Yeah. Ryan, I don't think you keep it up with the Sky very much in Arizona.
I am not, but I love that saying. How high they fall is as far as or how high they get is as far as they fall. I like that.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. There was some bars there. Yeah.
It's been a story of that season, man.
Speaking of that, how about the Bears?
Yeah. Yeah, right. Like before you came on, me and Drew went over some things from yesterday, and doing our buying and selling thing that we're doing with each team. We both said we're holding on the Bears right now. I can't really buy them after yesterday, but I'm not going to sell them after a win either. So, just start off with your opinion, man. What do you think about the Bears? Are you feel and I think one thing we should bring up is that they're still holding thing right now with Dalton, and I guess that's going to say a lot about his impending health is going to say a lot about what they do in the next couple games. So I don't know if we can even fully judge them tonight. Maybe we need the rest of the week to see, but in general, coming out of yesterday's game, what are your thoughts, and are you buying or selling or something else with the team right now?
Yeah, I think you guys hit it on the head, holding on. I wouldn't sell them just because of that defensive performance specifically. That's how they're built to win. They've got to win with defense. If Justin Fields is kind of like a rookie sensation and sometime comes on and just really starts balling out, maybe it'll be a different conversation. But I think aside from that specific scenario, maybe he comes in and plays well and is a rookie quarterback, makes mistakes. I think this team is going to be led by their defense pretty much no matter what. And if they don't show up like they did against the Rams, then that's scary to think. Like, you're already, if you're a Bears fan, probably have them at a 500 kind of prediction going into this year. You're not, maybe if you're an optimist, you're looking a little bit higher, and if you're the pessimist, you're looking a little lower. But I think, like, if you're looking at it kind of unbiasedly, you're thinking about 500. So this game was like a must-win. This is a fourth-place finishing team in the AFC North, and we saw what they did against the Rams, who finished second in their division. Or I'm sorry, they finished first. I believe Seattle was the wild card at the end of the year when they flip-flop. I might have that mistaken, but you're talking about a first or second place finish. They didn't play well at all. So that's about a 500 team, what we've seen so far. And if they're going to at least have higher aspirations, and I don't know how high they are because I do think that there's a limit, they're going to have to play this kind of style of defense at least moving forward. Overall, on special teams, they were solid. There was no blemishes, which is great because we saw so much of that in the preseason and in training camp, and you were just kind of a little bit worried. How would that translate to the regular season, especially early on, because maybe they're trying to find the right guys? Well, it seems like they've got that group going. And there was a ton of bright spots on defense. When you talk about Roquan Smith and Jalen Johnson, they were sensational. And then you get sightings from Khalil Mack and Eddie Jackson, even if it wasn't quite what they used to. And you get a Robert Quinn sighting. I thought he even played pretty solid besides the penalty. And Akeem Hicks, he looks like 2018 Akeem Hicks right now. If he can stay healthy, that's a great sign. And you're down two of your best defensive linemen in Eddie Goldman and Mario Edwards Jr., who you're expecting back potentially this week against Cleveland. And they're led by their defensive front. So it's interesting to see, and I'm very worried about the slot corner. But Duke Shelley, I thought, had a decent game, and Marquis Christian playing in the slot. And if that secondary can hold up, and knowing that Jalen Johnson, if he's healthy, he can really play out there. And even Kindle Vildor, I haven't seen teams really attacking much of him overall. It seems like they've been attacking the middle of the defense, and that's fine if Eddie Jackson and Roquan Smith are playing well. And then you just look at offense. I mean, you're just hoping that this offensive line can get a little bit better. And the issue why you want to hold on the Bears win, because I'm kind of going off on some of the positives, you're still seeing that what is Matt Nagy calling type stuff, and just wondering, like, is this guy ever going to get it? Even with Justin Fields, we don't know exactly, and I heard this point just listening to some sports radio that, we don't know exactly what's called. Maybe he did call boots and things to get out of the pocket, but Justin Fields kind of froze back there and just stood, and instead of maybe completing out a play. But it just seems silly having him throw from the pocket as much as he did versus rolling him out and really trying to put that pressure. And then even with that 4-minute offense, there's just not much running the football. But even all that said, with the offense, if Allen Robinson catches that dime from Justin Fields, that game might have been just way over at that point, and we'd be having a slightly different conversation and maybe talking about the potential of everything and maybe even giving Nagy praise. So it was a must-win. They needed to have it. They got to beat these teams that they have the advantage on, especially with how difficult their season is. Because, look, you have a great win. Now you're on the road in a really tough place with Cleveland, they were tied at half with Houston. I don't know how perfect they are. And these early –
they're kind of weird, but I think they're a good team because the way they play.
They got a ton of talent, no doubt about it.
Yeah, Jackson High for sure.
But you just don't know with early season football who's any good. Like it takes 3-4 weeks till you're really like, okay, that's a team, that's a bad team, and it's going to figure itself out over time. And especially after week 1, you were just worried the Bears were just one of those really bad teams. And I'll give them credit. They've put at least some building blocks down for growing and having a better season. The thing that really gets me holding to, though, is we've seen it from the Bears in the past. When they put down that good game, maybe they don't get blown out under Matt Nagy, but they're just wildly inconsistent.
Yeah, they're definitely a lot better mentally coming out with a win than they would have been coming out 0-2. Spirit, I think emotionally, I don't think he do us like that and potentially always start at that. Give facing this week, but I want to mention right quick. You mentioned about how up in the air everything still is, and the league as a whole. This was something I wanted to bring up. I sort of brought it up yesterday as well, and I thought at the time that there was going to be 8 2-0 teams coming out of the Sunday night game, but that wound up being only 7 because KC lost. And they're 1-1 now, as is the team that beat them last night, Baltimore. So there's only 7 of the 32 teams left that are even 2-0. We have year from year, we have the watch of who's going to make it the longest without losing, and who knows, that might be a very short watch this year.
Yeah, the parity seems crazy right now, and maybe it's just that first 3 or 4 weeks shuffling period because. Obviously, a team like Kansas City, it's going to be the cream of the crop with Patrick Mahomes and his ability. But you do kind of wonder, like, I'm interested in tonight's game. Does Aaron Rodgers and the Packers show up? I mean, is he in it?
About that? Yeah.
Boy, I mean, especially when you saw the Saints get absolutely destroyed, it was like, they destroyed Green Bay.
And came back to earth.
It's kind of as odd, and I'm just going to bring this up because I wanted to just touch on it really quick with the Bears. Andy Dalton, I thought that was going to be some severe injury. It's some bone bruise that kept him out of the game, and how his ankle and leg and knee kind of twisted that they pinpointed on the replay. Like, that must have been a nothing, and he got the bone bruise at some other point of the game, but it's just crazy to think, he's going to potentially miss this week because of just a bone bruise. And does that get the flip-flop going? And just in general, when you look at kind of league-wide, if some of these quarterbacks go down, it just seems like it is wide open, especially if a guy like Tom Brady goes down in the NFC. Is there maybe the Rams?
Yeah. The Rams, they could be that team this year. But I was just saying, Brady, he's the one who I'd worry less about because I said it last night. It's something in his blood, man. He got some type
ridiculous.
Of super soldier serum in him or something, man.
I mean, he give him credit. He's doing the Andy Dalton, but at a super high level. That ball does not stay in his hand for very long. That thing comes out. He ain't even messing around. But man, I mean, he's the MVP, right, to start the year so far.
I guess if you look at the way that they're scoring, and what 9 touchdowns already,
right,
it's crazy.
Hey, man. My fantasy team's been loving it.
I did better in fantasy this week, so I can't complain. But I'm still not scoring as much as I like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I dropped 150 on somebody this week because Derrick Henry showed up for me this week.
There you go.
You go.
I didn't get anything from him, so thank God for that.
But how wild was that week? I thought I was so entertained by all the games. That KC Baltimore game was fantastic. I
Yeah,
love
well,
this Cowboys game. Those Cowboys, they are impressing me. They're one of the teams that are impressing me to start the year. They played Tampa a lot tougher than I thought. Dak's looking top 5. Forget top 10. I mean, he's looking phenomenal.
Definitely. Well, guys, man, I wish I could talk more, but I'm with you, man. I think as far as Green Bay, man, I think they gotta come back strong tonight. I would like to see them fall apart completely, though. I wouldn't mind that. But
Well, it'd be how entertaining would that be? Just like from a stories kind of situation, like they put up this Last Dance, and then it's just a giant egg. Like what? And Aaron Rodgers with the man bun. Like I can't get over it.
Yeah, or the slick back hair, like he's an extra in Breaking Bad or something. Yeah,
But before we get out
I don't know what that look was in the press conference, but
before we get out here, I do want to toss this one idea to you two guys, especially if Fields is the one that Nagy ends up having to go with. It feels like the biggest question surrounding the Bears, more so than the defense, more so than if the secondary can hold up, more so than the offensive line, is can he stick to, or can he create and stick to a game plan that's actually going to cater to Fields' strengths? Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with you because I think that there's a certain arrogance, unfortunately, that's not deserved. That, again, that the system rules are everything, but there's also sort of a laziness in thinking. This may be more from people outside of Hallis Hall looking in, whereas they think that whatever the Bears throw out there, they can be saved eventually by Fields' athleticism. And I just wouldn't want to put the kid in that position so much this year where he has to save 3 out of every 4 plays with his feet. They should have better planning for him and, just better – they should be leading him as much as he's leading this team to their glorious future, however, wherever it is. Because if he's not getting what he needs from the sideline, that sideline is going to have to change. And we can't just keep accepting subpar coaching just because we have the talent that we want and need now at quarterback.
Yeah, I can't really defend Nagy. I think it would be a case of honestly, like, Matt Nagy, he's just kind of head down going forward. I want to run my scheme. I want to run my plays. He's a feel guy. He can, like you said, completely change the game just out of nowhere, just because he's feeling like, hey, this is it. This is the game, and trying to use kind of that analytics even on top of it. And sometimes maybe it's a good thing when we've seen old coaches with the Bears who just seem to like stick to their guns to the point of madness where you're just so angry. But in a way, Nagy's like such a wild card. It's maddening. Like you just want to know what you're going to get out of him. But all that being said, I think he does kind of walk away. And if, Justin Fields comes in, it's lockstep, and they're moving forward, and he's the quarterback that he gets excited about calling all these different plays because Nagy's just a play guy. He wants to run plays. He's not so worried about scheme. He wants those plays that you're just like, wow, what a play, and it just always has an answer for any defense type thing. Like that's how he wants to be. And if for whatever reason that just works exactly with Justin Fields, then I could see like, hey, he's going to stick to a game plan and it's going to work and it's going to be a great marriage. But my worry is it's like that 1 out of 10 chance kind of thing. Like all things point in the right direction. All the conditions are perfect. And that's the only way it's going to happen. And when that is, in football, nothing's perfect. The conditions are never perfect. So it just, I guess, depends maybe what Justin Fields is too, because he keeps saying how he's meant to be like in this position, and I think he is. So if his greatness is just so great, maybe it doesn't matter what the heck Matt Nagy's calling. He just makes it work. And I sometimes feel like that's kind of what Patrick Mahomes is doing in Kansas City.
Yeah. Well, we're going to leave it at that, guys. I know you got to break away, Drew. Thanks again, man, for, helping Chris in the show with me. And Ryan, same to you, bro. Always great talking to you about football. It's already 7-7 in Green Bay.
Right?
It's interesting, man. We got to see how this game plays out. If it lives up to last week's game, too. That last week's game, Monday night game, was a burner.
Terrific.
Yeah,
I feel like the games have been great so far this
year,
except for that Sunday night one.
It
was a bad one.
We gotta hold off on the national game.
Like the Tampa game was great. The Bears game was stinker. Monday night was great. Thursday night's great. Sunday night's great. Like all of a sudden, all the night games are rolling except for Bears Rams.
Yeah, from us. Yeah, But I was going to ask right quick, Ryan, what are you going to watch more of, the Peyton and Eli broadcast or the regular broadcast?
I got to go Peyton and Eli. I didn't even watch it the first time, and I messed up by not. And I guess it's only for a few weeks, so you got to get in with it while you got it.
Yeah, there's some good stuff on that first. I watched like the highlights, but I love the part where Peyton tried to put on the Raiders helmet and it wouldn't fit him. Like that massive head of his, was not that helmet stood no chance. But I got it on now. But
I just love how they're sitting just chilling, like, hey, you want to watch this game?
Yeah. I mean, and just listening to him talk about the game is so even though I can understand not even a third of what Peyton is saying, but I just love hearing it, But that's it. This episode, this initial episode, inaugural episode of Monday Night Memes.
And enough advertising for Peyton and Eli on ESPN.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys what to do. ESPN, send me some ducats, man. ESPN, or give me a job or something. I don't know what I'm saying, but but yeah, that's it. Guys, please let everybody know right quick where to follow you and what to look out for you. Going forward, or at least in the near future.
Just easy. Look for me on IG and Twitter at Look What Drew Did. Always there, willing and ready to converse with everybody.
Definitely.
I'm at Ryan B. Ski, but you should be really following at that Stavis, and we'll be dropping our football knowledge from this week. I can't wait to hear Ken's reaction. I know we've gotten a little bit of that on the Under Center podcast, but I love getting my own take from Ken, my selfish take from Ken on that Davis show. So
you get later on this week. You get the real Ken. You get the real Ken. You don't get the,
exactly.
You get the
not that NBC shine. Yeah, right. Yeah. Take off all the makeup. All the fancy clothes and everything like that.
Right.
And get him just raw and real on these Bears. So it'll be a lot of fun with that. And yeah, we'll be just keep in touch with the Twitter, the Instagram, and you'll be seeing plenty of content from us.
That's right. Same to be said for War Media. Just follow us, subscribe on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube. Definitely want to get these videos early at when we're streaming them, live streams like this. And again, if you join in with us, man, we love feedback. Join in on discussion. You want to, you want to let off some steam about the other team locally. This is the place to do it week to week. So that's it though for now. For Drew, for Ryan, this is Kyle signing off. Enjoy your week, man. Get through it all right, and we'll get back to these games next weekend. All right. Peace out.
Enjoy the Kool-Aid.